want everybody to know that Molly's in the bathroom, and I am not scaring her. I'm a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Welcome to the knowHis.love podcast. I'm Father Michael.
And I'm Molly.
Hi, Molly.
Hello. How long was that? Oh, it's been 6 minutes now.
I turned it on right when you
Left.
Yeah.
I'd say I was gone for about a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I
I said a secret message to the camera while you were gone.
What was it?
I said, I'm not going to scare Molly. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm always ready for it, though.
I feel like pregnancy is a bad time to...
I just go into labor.
Maybe, but you never know.
Not this early, but that may be a risk later on.
Yeah.
I wonder how we're going to do it when, I'm about to give birth. We're probably going to have to start doing 2 a week or something.
Yeah, but if you went into labor while on the podcast, would be
Oh my
incredible.
gosh, that's so weird that could happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, it rarely is I don't know. Sometimes it's a sudden thing where your water breaks, but other times it's just I really am having a lot of contractions, and I probably wouldn't come in the first place if that
would be a lot for the podcast.
Yeah, just occasionally. Anyway, but that will be, maybe we'll really plan ahead for those. And then it'll be why is she 9 months pregnant for 10 episodes? Did the baby come?
Yeah. And then when the baby's on as a guest for the first time.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll just pop in a little video then. I don't know how. Who's to say how it's gonna work?
I don't know. It's crazy.
It is. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Today we're talking about sacrifice.
Yep.
Which was on our list.
It was.
It's a good suggestion because I've overlooked it every single time.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I have too. I'm saying I don't really know why I have.
What's sacrifice mean to you?
Well, I think it's something that, and I feel like we say this in most episodes, it's something the world really shies away from. That's not necessary. Just do whatever you want, basically. But I think it is a real mark of love. In any relationship, oftentimes with yourself, with God certainly, and with others. I talk about it a lot when I give talks on chastity and how the world is so. This isn't. I don't want to turn this into an episode about about chastity, but a lot of times people are well, if you love someone, whatever. But how when you wait for marriage with someone, that takes sacrifice, and how that shows that how much the extent of someone's love for you, just as an example of that.
Yeah.
Or in relationships, I just think it's really important to die to ourselves a lot, because not everything I want or feel should be listened to. And that's a weird kind of concept to accept in the world today. It's well, if I want it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But a large part of the things that I feel and want, I shouldn't listen to. And that takes sacrifice. It's not when you become more of a Christian, it's just easy. You still have to make that decision. And even gets harder. I don't know. What about you?
St. Maximilian Kolbe says...
You said that funny.
I know. St. Maximilian Kolbe says, love without sacrifice is meaningless.
Yeah.
And that's always stood out to me as a mark of love is being willing to sacrifice. And if we could take it back.
Take it back.
I don't
know what you're about to say.
Y'all, one more time. What's that? Cha-cha slide.
What's that song?
Take it back now, y'all.
No, that's it.
But sacrifice is all through the Bible.
Oh, we're really taking it back.
Taking it way back.
I thought you were going to tell a story about something that happened on the podcast.
No.
So we're taking it back to
Olden time.
BC.
BC times. Yeah, so if you read the Old Testament, huge chunks of it are after the Israelites get out of Egypt, there's all this stuff about how they're to worship God, and that ties back to what happened with Abraham and God calling for him to sacrifice. And it's challenging to us. We don't obviously we don't kill animals at mass.
Obviously.
Which is a thing that was part of Jewish worship. But like sacrifice, that
Isn't
idea
that
that
crazy?
what?
I like think about that sometimes. I'm like, holy crap, man,
It was
that's
a
like
lot too.
crazy. They just like go up a mountain and
Or like in the temple and stuff on
Yeah.
Passover, a ton of lambs. Like everybody was bringing a lamb.
Lambs are so cute. So
Yeah.
that's like extra traumatic.
And it's kind of
Sorry,
the
I cut
point.
you off,
No,
but
no,
it is crazy.
it's good to think about that because it's like, why sacrifice an animal? God, he says it in the Bible. I don't need your sacrifices because I'm hungry. Like I don't need these to eat. But it's a stand-in for us that when you sacrifice this animal, or even like crops and stuff, they would do that too. Offer as a sacrifice. That it
The corn.
corn doesn't bleed. It's our life and our blood really that we're offering, and so
But we don't need to anymore.
because Jesus is the sacrifice,
The sacrificial lamb,
yeah.
some may say.
And so, like, even more than a cute lamb, Jesus is more precious than a cute
Jesus.
lamb.
No, but like,
Yeah.
you think of a lamb as precious.
Mhm.
I think is a word, and
Yeah.
innocent, and all of that. And so, like, how much more precious to us is the Son of God? How much
Yeah.
more innocent?
Mhm. And so now
and
Mass,
cuter.
and,
I'll say it.
yeah. And now
I
we have
bet.
we can only assume with divinity comes cuteness.
Yeah.
Um,
Get that on a t-shirt. Get that on a knowHis.love t-shirt right now. Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. So at Mass, we don't sacrifice an animal. Can't talk today.
I don't know what's happening.
We
It's 3:00 in the afternoon. We should be on our A game.
I should be at my peak.
Next time. But at Mass, what do we not do?
Bloodless sacrifice.
Yeah, bloodless.
Because Jesus offers himself and we
Yeah.
participate in that.
Mhm.
That's the whole point of what I'm saying. Camera.
What is a time in your life where either you, and like, it's okay to say if it was you. I think sometimes it's like what someone did for you.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just an example of sacrifice that you have in your life, big or small.
Yeah. I think just a consistent one are my parents, and like it's easy to see now, but like they took us all over the place and they paid for us to do things like
I think about how much money
yes
my parents spent on me. Not that that's the only thing they did for me, but that was something I was thinking about the other day. Like,
it's a big deal.
I took flute lessons. I played all sorts of sports. I did all sorts of activities that freaking cost so much money and time.
Yeah. We had all of us played instruments and all of us owned a couple instruments at least.
Yeah.
We like
those are expensive.
Went on the school trips and band camp and
college
and even like go to the movies and go out to eat and stuff. And then college, like all that stuff. You'll get to experience this.
I know.
It adds up.
We were talking about that the other day, how it's crazy. Like, sometimes you have to say no to certain things just simply because you can't do it all. But like, how it's like a consistent sacrifice as a parent that I'm already getting to experience in its own way now, like sacrificing so much physically.
Yeah.
And I like joke about it a lot, but it is really hard being pregnant. But it's awesome because it's like, it's not like it's just like, oh, the baby's going to be born and then I'm going to be like, oh, now I got to like sacrifice for them, be selfless. Like, God's giving me a chance to practice that before the baby is here, which is it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And I like feel like I understand I'll never understand it fully, but I feel like I understand his love for us in a new way through that, which is really cool.
It's as soon as I got to the point in my life where like women I knew became pregnant and then my sister had kids, like just that 9 months of laying your body down for the baby, like that, it changes everything. Your teeth hurt.
It is so weird also because your teeth. I lay down my teeth for this child. Have you ever heard
the lame pickup line, like, do your feet hurt because you fell from heaven?
Your feet?
Do your feet hurt because you fell from heaven and you landed on your feet? I don't know. It's in a song.
Oh, I've never heard the feet hurt, but like, did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Do your teeth hurt when
you have a baby?
When you have a baby.
But even like, I think people prepare you. Like, I was ready for the morning sickness. Oh, but also like I wasn't. I had heard about it.
Bad.
it is so much, not to like scare anyone. I think I've already said that
Mhm.
before. Not trying to scare anyone, but for me, it was so much worse than I was prepared for. And there's just daily examples of,
Mhm.
and also you need to be more aware of taking care of yourself. I
Yeah.
can't just like skip a meal or eat super unhealthy consistently, or I don't know. I'm not supposed to lay on my stomach now. There's all these like little things too, and I'm a
Mhm.
stomach sleeper, guys. So that's but it. So in every moment, there's like a reminder,
Yeah.
but it's all worth it. It's not like I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Come
mean?
on, baby.
Freaking a child stealing the minerals from my teeth.
But yeah, it's like to be a parent is that like constant sacrifice
Yeah,
going forward. And even like knowing, older people who have adult kids who, fell away from the church or
their kids fall away. Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
or
Yeah.
anything like that, like they're seeing their kids suffer. It's still a sacrifice.
Yeah, it's like an
Um,
emotional sacrifice.
hmm So yeah, sacrifice
That's
is
really true.
right through our lives.
Yeah. How do you how is it a part of your priesthood in ways that you expected and didn't expect?
Hmm.
Because that's and I think we often talk about like misconceptions people have about the priesthood. Like, I think even the fact that you're like dressed in normal clothes, a lot of people be like, I didn't know they could do that.
Hmm.
Things like that. But I think something that most people know about priests is like, it's very clear to see the things that you sacrifice, namely like marriage.
Yeah.
That's a thing people think of a lot, but maybe that, but also maybe some other things that are part of your vocation.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's definitely one. Celibacy is a sacrifice.
It's not like you just become a priest, can you confirm for me? And
Yeah.
you're like, this is the easiest thing in the world. I love being alone. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I think people think sometimes with sacrifice, like, oh, well, I make the decision to do it for something good and it's suddenly not hard, is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. But that's what makes it a sacrifice, is it being
Getting yeah.
difficult sometimes.
Getting ordained doesn't mean you're not attracted to women.
Right.
Like that doesn't go away. And so yeah, so that's always going to be it's something you have to choose all the time. I
Yeah.
think freedom in a way, in the sense of you don't choose where you live, or where you minister.
And you don't know when it will end. We
Yeah,
talk about that sometimes.
yeah, just that sort of like obedience is what it is that
Yeah.
you sacrifice that your control over situations of your life, sometimes big time situations of your life. And so that could be difficult. You sacrifice privacy in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, that you're like a public person.
You have to be, not that you would otherwise do whatever you want, but every time I go somewhere with you, someone knows you. Like,
Yeah.
you have to watch how you act always,
Mm-hmm.
which is good, but
Yeah, I have a bright orange car, as you know,
yes, I
and so
do.
everybody recognizes that. And I always joke like, then I won't go anywhere I'm not supposed to go.
Right, but
But
like
but
actually,
literally,
you
yeah.
couldn't.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, so
yeah.
those things are always going to be there, and I can obviously see it in marriage too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, you like in similar ways, like I was talking about something with Zach last night, how like even emotionally it's a sacrifice. I like and we talk about this super openly. So like we're both super independent people. And a lot of times like kind of giving up independence is a little bit attractive to people about marriage, like, but it was something about marriage that was really hard for me.
Hmm.
Like, I can't do whatever I want whenever I want. Not that I would just like totally do whatever I want, but like if someone invited me to go on a trip last minute, I could say yes. It what doesn't affect anyone. If
Hmm.
I wanted to be irresponsible and spend my money in some way, maybe I shouldn't, but I could just do it.
Yeah,
Just
it's on you.
see me during COVID,
Hmm.
everybody, because it just affects me. Like if I want to take a job somewhere and move across the country, like I could do that.
Hmm.
Like, but um, or even down to like I'm extremely introverted, my husband is very extroverted, and it's not just about me. It's not like when, let's say he comes home from work and he had a hard day and needs to talk, but I really want to be alone for a little bit. Like,
Hmm.
it's not like I could just be like, give me 5 minutes, give me an hour. Like,
Yeah.
there's a real laying down of yourself
Hmm.
and your freedom. Um, that's really hard, but really like holy. It's made me a much better person
Yeah.
to not just be able to do whatever the heck I want to,
Mhm.
like without a care for anybody else. Like that is naturally going to make you a better person.
It's good for us, yeah.
Yeah. And like you can't, it's not like you have one person to answer to, but you have a lot of different people to answer
Mhm.
to in different situations and responsibilities that like you have to say mass. No matter where you're assigned, you're
Yeah.
gonna have the masses you have to say, and you can't
Mhm.
really get out of that, you
Yeah.
know? Like there's things you have to do that affect other people.
Mhm.
And when your life is so intimately intertwined with someone else or someone else's, some others,
Yeah.
like it's just like totally not about you. But that doesn't, and I love my husband so much, but that doesn't mean it's not hard for me sometimes.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I miss those aspects of being single. I don't wish I was single,
Yeah.
but I miss the independence I had sometimes for sure.
Mhm.
But like I think the beauty of sacrifice is like God doesn't ask us, and like our relationships don't call for unnecessary sacrifice, like for no reason.
Mhm.
You know, I'm able to see the fruits of the sacrifices I make for my husband. It makes my relationship healthier. It's made me a better communicator. All of these things I'm able to see. I'm sure you're able to see the fruits of the fact that there's just like these things that you have to do as a priest. Like you're saying mass for people. Like that's
Mhm.
a very clear fruit. All of these things. So I think the consolation is like, and the important thing to remember is just because you're Christian and you're doing sacrificing for the right reasons doesn't make it easy. In fact, I
Mhm.
would say it makes it harder a lot of the time. But also, like, we can be consoled in the fact that it's never without reward. Not to say that the reward is like happy, shiny, good feelings
Yeah.
after, but the reward of a good action, of love, of holiness
Mhm.
is always there. Like, I cannot think of a single example where it's good to sacrifice for no reason that doesn't have like a reason, because then it's not sacrifice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. It it all flows out of how God loves us.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably, I don't know, it's the helpful thing for me, like when it's tough to give of myself.
Yeah.
Like, well, like this is what God has done completely.
Right.
That yeah, what we do is nothing compared to that. That he's completely poured himself out, and he didn't have to. And that's like the point of sacrifice, that it's a choice, and it's like a free choice. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime, just think about, I don't know, the times that I'm least happy is because I've turned in on myself, and I'm not being self-giving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being self-giving leads to like peace and joy
Mm-hmm.
and just feeling alive in a way that the opposite does not. And I think it's why a lot of people can be unhappy in the world, because the message that we're given is, well, just get what you need, get what you want, and take care of yourself and enjoy it. But that doesn't make us happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of like my encouragement whenever I talk to somebody, and especially they're often also like maybe stuck in a sin or something. Is like, look for a way to give of yourself, because that's going to bring you closer to God and really let you be human the way that you're meant to be human.
Yeah. And I think, I know we've talked about this when we talk about discipline before, but also like practicing sacrifice in your daily life in little ways,
Hmm.
it's going to help you be able to sacrifice in bigger ways that are
Yeah.
more necessary. Like, this is a very silly thing, and I recognize that. But I am not great at keeping my car clean. It's not ever a wreck, but there's always stuff in it that I just like need to get out of there that I don't.
Hmm.
And so sometimes like I pull up, I don't have anything to get out of the car, and there's a sweater in the car that I just for some stupid reason just want to let sit there. And it is a small practice to be like every time I get out of the car, bringing something inside
Hmm.
with me. And that's dumb and does not take, it just sacrifices my laziness, which is a good thing to sacrifice anyway.
Yeah.
But if I'm consistently doing that, if I'm saying, oh, I'm just going to drink water today or whatever, like
Hmm.
sacrificing those small desires that I have, like it makes sacrifice a habit, and that is a very good habit to have,
Yeah.
because if you love anyone, there's going to be lots of situations in your life that require you to sacrifice. And especially as a Christian, if you love God and you're really wanting to commit yourself to God, to faith, and it's in the world today. It's going to
Mhm.
take a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of things that you and I can't do, and we
Uh-huh.
shouldn't do them. It's not like I'm like, oh man, I wish I could go be immoral.
Uh-huh.
Like, but there's a lot of things that as Christians we can't do.
Mhm.
And I think even more so you as a priest,
Yeah.
because you're a representative of the church. And so like when you put those things into practice in small ways, you're going to have more strength in you to choose sacrifice in those bigger, more difficult ways.
Mm.
Because even though they're things that we're called to sacrifice as Christians, like again, I'm saying this a lot because I think it's important to remember it is not easy. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of times, like I've talked to different kids about how they like are students at our school. Like, this doesn't happen a lot because like the popular kids at our school like love the Lord,
Mhm.
but sometimes like there's been kids in certain groups of friends who their friends like make fun of them for being devoted to their faith or
Mhm.
like say, "Oh, come do this instead of going to adoration or whatever." But like they make that choice in those moments, like to sacrifice even like social acceptance sometimes for their faith. And I think that's a small problem at Central, and
Mhm.
it is a huge problem in the world today, though. Like especially like now, like with being pro-life is seen as being anti-woman,
Yeah.
um not agreeing with the people's decision to live out homosexual lifestyle is seen as being a bigot. Like,
Mhm.
so you really have to sacrifice not just time, not just money, but it's the sacrifice of like choosing humility is a
Yeah.
really really hard one.
Maybe your
That's
reputation.
yeah.
Mhm.
Even if you know you're doing something right, that doesn't mean you're always gonna have a good reputation,
Mhm.
and that's hard. Like most of us, to some degree, care what people think about us, even
Absolutely.
if we don't agree with it. Like I this is something that's always been hard for me. I could see that I'm right about something, or at least really believe that I am. But if someone really thinks I'm not,
Mhm.
that's gonna bother me. And I
Yeah.
think it does most people, but so like swallowing my pride and being like, it doesn't matter. Like it only matters how God sees me. And like not just saying that but living it
Hmm.
is huge.
I think even sacrificing our ideas of what, like the victory of Christ is meant to look like. I
Mhm.
think that could be a challenging thing that we just talked about this in our Bible study on Wednesday morning, but that like we're not going to win in the sense of like convince everybody all the time that we're right.
Yeah.
Or that like that's not the goal isn't uh to like win arguments. The
Mhm.
goal is to uh, proclaim the gospel, and sometimes that looks like us being humiliated,
Yeah.
and sometimes it looks like us seemingly failing. And I think that's part of the sacrifice is just like Jesus, like you take up your cross, is what he said.
Yeah.
That was not fun, and it did not look good, and it
Mhm.
wasn't popular, and it wasn't um, popular is a weird way to describe that, but
No, yeah, I get it.
yeah, like Jesus took up his cross and was mocked and ridiculed and you know, proclaimed a criminal,
Yeah.
a blasphemer, and he chose to do it anyway, knowing that people were going to misinterpret him and assume things about him. It didn't matter, and I think that our crosses, our sacrifices, can be opportunities like that where we say, like, well, this is what God's calling me to do. It's not going to be pretty, and
Mhm.
that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great way to word it. Like this will be hard. This will be difficult. People will be upset. But like that is not the point. The point is
Mm-hmm.
love and like doing what we know to be the most loving always, and recognizing that oftentimes that means we're going to have to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's it. And sometimes the reward is not something we experience. Sometimes it's a reward for the sake of the good of the other,
True.
or for the sake of just like doing the right thing. And it may seem like it only has negative consequences to us, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean the next time we're like, yeah, I'm never doing that again,
Yeah. Yeah.
which can be a very understandable temptation, that I've definitely experienced. But it's important to remember what sacrifice is about, and that's love. Like we've talked about when we've talked about love before, that doesn't always look exactly the way that we want it to. It's why everybody has a different idea of what it looks like in the world today. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if we all had the same idea of what love was, sacrifice would probably always be received well, but we don't, you know?
Yeah. And just that, like, going back to that idea of sacrifice is like, sacrificing an animal in your place.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically saying to God, like, my life is yours. And so if that means um, people are going to think badly of me, Jesus already told us, like, blessed are you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a crazy image that Saint Therese has. She said, I just want to be a ball that belongs to the child Jesus. Like, maybe he'll play with me. Maybe he'll abandon me in the corner. Maybe he'll open me up to see what's inside. I'm like, holy cow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is that in um
I think it's in Story of a Soul.
okay. I haven't read that in a while. I
Mm-hmm.
should read that again.
But just that idea, like, Jesus, whatever, my life is yours,
And
whatever
like
that looks like.
actually whatever.
Yeah.
That takes sacrifice to say
Yes.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want my life to look like whatever. I want to know exactly how things are going to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, this may sound morbid, but sometimes I'll just like this happened the other day. I was sitting in my apartment. Zach was watching TV. I was doing homework, and I looked at him and I was like, he could just literally drop dead right now. Like,
Oh, no.
and that is extremely daunting in general,
Mm-hmm.
but like, it is a much more daunting thought to have now that like I'm about to have his child.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I was thinking about that, and at the beginning of my pregnancy, that was something that was extremely hard for me. Was the fear of all the things that could go wrong,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that could happen to my baby. Would it be okay? All these things, and you're kind of dealing with it largely on your own because not many people knew I was pregnant at the beginning, and I don't can't see that I'm pregnant yet. So all
Mm-hmm.
these things, like it's much easier now, that the baby is a certain size and felt the baby move recently, all those things. But when it's just this small thing inside of you that you have no concept of how it's doing, it's like very terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's been like, as I pray for my baby, like one of the biggest things is just like, oh, I'm already noticing, and I'm sure this will only get worse after my kid is born, just desire to grasp like control over their life too, not just
Yeah.
mine. Like, I will never let anything bad ever
Mm-hmm.
happen to this baby, and accepting that I could be the best mom I can be, and I can't stop bad things from happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop people around me from dying, from getting sick, from having bad things happen to them. That's awful, and I don't like think about this all the time. I just the other day I had that thought for some reason, but it was an invitation from God. I think like in that there was an invitation to like surrender, not be like it's okay, Lord, if Zach dies, but like to be like in my prayer every day, like my husband is yours,
Yeah.
my baby is yours, I am yours, like
Mm-hmm.
have your way, and then it takes some real trust that God won't just be like okay only bad things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a struggle I've had.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what real sacrifice looks like, I think, in our relationship with the Lord, like fully inviting God to have his way, whatever that looks like. And sometimes it's going to be it's going to feel like the best thing that's ever happened to you, and sometimes it's going to feel like the worst thing that's ever
Mm-hmm.
happened to you. But remembering though, no matter what it is, it's not about this life, and God never allows anything to happen that he can't turn for good.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times people say everything happens for a reason. I don't really agree with that or like that saying,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of things that happen that God doesn't want to happen.
Him allowing something doesn't mean he's like, yeah, that.
Yeah, that's what free will is.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't allow it if he couldn't bring a good out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of love's worth sacrificing for, even though it's really hard sometimes. There's definitely been times where I've been like, once I hand this over to you, you're gonna take it away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, once we recognize that, like we can give that back to him too and allow him to heal that, and he's definitely healed that a lot in my heart. Through myself making the sacrifice of deciding to do it again. And then it's like, okay, let's look at that together.
Mm.
Whereas if I just kept it to myself, I'd never really let him heal it,
Yeah. Our lives are filled with those like little deaths. We're
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, I have to let go of this. And sometimes it literally means like, okay, that thing is gone, or like that part of my life or that relationship. And sometimes it just means like, I don't know, like Abraham and Isaac, like being willing to let go of it is the point.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tangent.
Yeah.
I was just listening to a podcast on the way here, and it's two guys, and they were talking about if the other one died, who would they want to be the co-host with them?
What podcast was this?
It's called the Unmade Podcast.
What did they say?
It was all like kind of people they knew, like serious answers, but
What would you say? I feel
Taylor Swift, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. No, I want your real answer.
If you were suddenly gone, I think it would have to be somebody that I was close to, like that
Yeah.
I'd be friends with.
I feel like my answer is easier than yours
Mm-hmm.
because, like, I'd probably just do with Father Josh or something, like another priest friend.
We're interchangeable.
That is not what I meant. But like, I don't think there's anyone else in your life that like is in this like.
That's true.
Like, I think part of why it works is it's like a priest and like a young married woman, like the differences in life.
Yeah.
Whereas I have more priests in my life than you have young married women in your life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like you could easily say, "Oh, Father Josh," but like it would change the dynamic.
Yeah, it would be totally different.
You're not easily replaceable. I was just giving my answer if I had to.
Okay.
Don't die.
I'll do my best.
I do say that to Zach sometimes. He's always like, "I won't." I'm like, "Okay." When we're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna take that answer."
Yeah.
What's your answer though? I do want to know your answer. The best possible answer you could think of.
If it's not a priest, which would be an easy way to go, like Joe would be really good.
Oh yeah, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Because there's the differences of life.
Different
there.
kind of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tara would be a good
That's
one.
what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say, just
Tara
get Tara
on. I gotta tell her about this after this. She is so funny. We should have her back.
Door number 3.
She was so funny on this. She's been on twice, right?
Yeah,
I think
it's been a long time though.
With Fran, yeah, it's about time we bring it back.
Yeah.
We should have Tess and Zach on because
I asked Tess when you were away one time and she couldn't do it.
Because
guests to come.
She was in Zach's class.
That'd be fun.
And Zach's college class that he teaches is interesting, so I think that'd be a funny one.
I'd just replace you with Zach. That'd be funny.
Yeah, honestly that would work too. He'd be great. We haven't had Zach on in a little bit, I don't think.
It's summer now.
Since before we got married. Nope. Since right after we got married.
Yeah, like 2 days after you got married. Remember that?
I do. I think maybe he was on one that as a replacement for me. Though.
Oh, we talked about Lord of the Rings.
That's right. I wasn't there that one time.
I don't remember when that was.
I don't know. We were definitely married.
Okay.
So was it within the past 7 months? Is that how long I've been married?
I don't know. It was September?
Yeah. I've been married for 8 months. Yeah, this is month 9. Yep, we're in month 9. Time's a flying.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, that's all
Good
I have to say. Sacrifice. So, Father Michael, how has God loved you lately?
So today I went and visited a parishioner to bring her communion, and I usually, hang out and talk for a while. She gave me a Kool-Aid jammer, like
I'm jealous.
juice pouch thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so that was nice. But I was late, but also I think she forgot I was coming.
That's perfect. That's the ideal situation to be late for.
Yeah, and so I got there, and she has a hard time walking, so she was trying to carry her groceries in, so I got to just like do that.
Oh.
I was like, okay, God, look, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because it was like it just all came together.
That's really that's great that you were there.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Touch the microphone.
It's okay. Molly, how has God loved you lately?
Well, we just moved. I forget if I talked about that on here
yeah.
or not, but I love our new little home.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great. And I am a homebody. And it's like almost all set up now, so it's just nice having like a place that is home that is comfortable. We went from 1 bedroom to 3 bedrooms. So it is it's not that big in general, but it's much bigger than our previous place. And it's just like there's little things like at our old place our kitchen was so small. And there was just lots of things that we just like accepted because that's what we needed to do at the time. But now I have this big kitchen and I don't have to like constantly pull things out and put it away. And it's just a small thing of like, oh, this is such a gift. Like, I don't need this. I don't need a kitchen. Like, I don't think we think about that. I don't need a kitchen where everything has a place.
Yeah.
But I have one, and like I'm lucky to even have a house, you
Mhm.
know. So it's just kind of cool how having such a small place before kind of made me more grateful materialistically.
That's good.
But
See,
yeah,
sacrifice.
I love where we live. Love where you live. First Fridays.
It
See you
is.
there.
Yep. Hot dogs tonight.
I know we're on it. I don't think I can.
I'll eat it for you.
Okay.
Official hot dog of the knowHis.love podcast. Desperado dogs tonight.
I wonder
It'll
what they
be
have.
2 days ago when you hear this.
Yeah, but it was still good, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Bye.
Godspeed.
Yawn.